Man, I'm telling you, I'm so excited for what is ahead this upcoming year. After camp this year, I said, hey, I am going to try to plan out the whole year from now until next camp, all gearing towards next year's camp, all right? That's kind of how the youth ministry cycle goes. Camp's kind of like the birthday of the year, I think, you get a bunch of new people come in, and it's always great, and people, join, and you grow more, and so it's kind of like a birthday to a degree. People say, hey, this is my first camp, second camp, third camp. This kind of the way in which people gauge how long they've been in the youth group, and so we love to make a big deal about summer camp. So that's what we have geared towards this year, and in doing that, I've said, man, all right, I want to get the parents involved in what we do on the teaching side, on the growing side, you have entrusted us to help speak life into your teenagers. So I want you to know and see what we are doing from a behind the scenes, as well as like you get to see it front row at your home, right? With your teens that are here. But I want to show you what we are gearing towards, what we want the culture of the youth group to look like. So I'm glad you are here for tonight. And so here's a little bit about what we're going to be talking about, all right? So right now, Driven Youth, if you want to toss that logo up there. We've been Driven Youth now, 4 years I've been on staff. And so it's been really good stuff. Shout out, me and Roseanne came on at the same time. So we're both 4 years on staff together. But through that time, I have had 0 previous years of youth ministry experience, all right? You loving that? So I came on, I was 21 years old. Me and Chloe were like 6 weeks married, and they said, hey, go to camp and be the leaders. And so it was me and Chloe and 2 other young adults that are actually Chloe's brother and his girlfriend at the time. We all went to camp together, and it was a great time, but we had 0 youth ministry experience before that. So now, with 4 years of youth ministry, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm starting to learn and grow and see this is actually what is helpful. This is what's beneficial. And this is what I'm seeing help students to grow and to change, all right? So one of the main things that is actually helping students grow and change is whenever what happens on Wednesday nights is being modeled, talked about, and shown in the home, right? Because we get your teenager first, say, like 90 minutes a week, all right? For those that drop off at about 6:30 and then 8 o'clock, you pick them up. Some people, shout out to you parents, drop them off at 5:45, pick them up at 9 o'clock. I love you guys, all right? I really do, honestly, I really do. It's always fun because I'm like walking out of my office and I'm like, wow, there's teenagers here already. It's great. It's great. I really do love that because I get to connect with them even longer. I get to know them a lot more personally. They get to know me. And so I always enjoy that because they see me beyond just some individual that stands up, yaps for about 30 minutes, and then goes away and you don't ever see me ever again, right? But what I see whenever there's growth in a teenager, it's because what's happening is going home with them, and parents are talking about it and asking them questions, and it's more than just an isolated experience they have on a Wednesday night, detached from life, but it is actually through and through what is going on in their life, right? So I have had then a shift in the way in which I have gone about youth ministry. I used to think youth ministry equals let's make youth as fun as we can, as cool as we can for the teens, so that they will be so inspired to want to tell their parents, I want to go to youth every Wednesday, and I'm going to tell my friends at school, come to youth with me on Wednesdays and all this stuff, and that's great. But parents, might I ask you, how many times do you ask your teenager to do something, and then you go, did you even hear anything I said? Yes? Teenagers, you ever hear that one? Yeah? Thank you, Mikey. I know that. Because here's the deal. No knock on you teenagers, but what I want to do is I want to speak to you parents so that y'all hear and see what we're getting at, because we're not changing how we minister to the teens. And I know that these teens that are here are absolutely dialed in. Like, I think our youth ministry is very special in that way, that we're here for a reason. We know why we're here. But I have had a shift in my thinking and saying, I want to gear the youth ministry towards the parents, knowing that we're speaking to the teenagers, and I want the parents to hear also what we're doing and why we're doing this, so that you can have the conversations when you go home. Does that make sense? Yeah? Loving it. Cool. So again, I used to think I need to gear all my efforts just to the teenagers. And if it makes it back to the parents, that's a great thing, all right? I used to think if I just tell teenagers, hey, next week we're doing X event, parents will hear we're doing this event. That doesn't always happen, all right? Not always does it go from teenagers back to the parents. So I want to be good at ministering to you as a family, all right? Ministering to you in this season where you have teenagers. And so I want to be speaking in a way that impacts teens to go home and talk about it with you. And then I want you to be invested in the youth ministry to be talking about it with them as well. Does that make sense? Love it. Very cool. So we have some series that will be geared toward all of those things. Again, what our Wednesdays typically look like, just if you don't know, now you will know. At 6:15, whenever we start, actually, we start with worship, all right? We start with worship at 6:15, and we ask people, hey, if you want to come and be invested in what we are doing here. You know, this is the time in which we are saying, hey, we're setting aside all the distractions, and we're coming here to seek the Lord. Silence the phones. Don't worry about what friends am I sitting next to, standing next to, and how are people perceiving me? But this is a time to seek the Lord. And that's what we do the first 15, 20 minutes. We usually try to have some sort of an experience along with that. We want them to, hey, on this note card, think about this song and write down a lyric that stands out to you, so that they're engaging with the worship beyond just listening, but with their minds, with their spirits. They're engaged in what we are actually singing about, right? Then we like to do some icebreaker fun games with Gaddis. You gotta love it, it's always the best. Or Shuffle Your Buns, another youth classic. Yes, can I hear it for Shuffle Your Buns, teens? Parents, if you don't know, you'll have to ask them about it later. Maybe at the end of this, we do one big game of Shuffle Your Buns. It would be terrible. It would be the worst. We're not gonna do that. But that's a fun thing we do as well, because we want people to get to know one another. We want people to have some fun interactions with the other teens that are there and with the other leaders as well. And then after we do games, we'll go into the sermon, and then we go into discussion groups where every week we have a time where they get to sit down and talk with leaders, with other adults who are dialed into this message and living it out as well. And they get to have discussions about what does this sermon actually mean? How do we apply this into our life that it would be where we live differently, right? Like we do at Vertical, we always say, lift him up and come on. That's what we want to see in the youth as well. Lift him up and live him out. Because it is a lot that teenagers are up against right now, right? So I want you to be invested in the cultivation, in the growth of your teenager. And I want you to know that I genuinely am very, very invested in seeing you teenagers grow into godly people, right? That you would look more like Christ by the end of your time in youth ministry than you did whenever you began. So that's what I think really sets us apart at youth here at Vertical, is that we are not here just for show, not here just for games, but we are here to make a deep impact in the lives of these teenagers. So with all that being said, I want to make a little bit of an announcement, all right? So it's an interesting one. And by that, I mean, it's actually pretty cool, I think. And it's gonna change. It's gonna change a little bit of how we do youth ministry, all right? Not really how, but in the brand in which we do youth ministry, all right? So we've been Driven Youth for 4 years. For 4 whole years, all right? Stick with me in this. Jonathan's talking trash to all those that are around him. I'm kidding. He always is. He's always an initial hater, then he learns to love it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, camp this last year, Built Different was our theme. It was great, yeah? Come on, Built Different. It was great. Thank you for wearing the shirt, Manny. Thank you. It's good stuff. Originally, I said, hey, Jonathan, what do you think of this? He said, I don't love it. I said, well, pal, you will. It'll be great, right? And he did, yes? Yes. Come on, that's awesome. So listen to this. We're going to make a slight change. The youth ministry of Vertical. Thank you, Jonathan. We are going to be, we're going to be Vertical Youth. We are going to be Vertical Youth. Anyone applause? Thank you. There we go. Yeah. All right. Hear me out as some reasons why. Everyone's stressing out over here. Shout out, hey, if this is your second name change in youth ministry history, go ahead and let's hear it. Yeah? Come on. All right. Way back in the day, 10 years ago, We started as Rise Student Ministry, all right? How about that? There you go. Me and Shelby were in high school together. We were in Rise Student Ministry right here in this worship center. It's crazy stuff. Whenever I came on, we shifted the name to Driven Youth. So we were saying, hey, we want to have teens that are driven to pursue their faith on their own, right? It's great. That's not changing. We're not saying, hey, all of a sudden, we don't want people to be driven. No, we're not saying that. But what I am saying is this shift of saying vertical youth. I want you to know that this youth ministry is geared towards vertical families. This is not just towards teenagers. This is not just towards a smaller group of individuals. This is to you and the church vertical, right? Vertical youth. That's our goal. Also in this, one thing I love, maybe the most, is that now, if you were to wear a shirt that said vertical youth out and about, right? You wear Driven Youth right now, and people see it and they're like, what's that? What's driven? Where is it? Not saying it's bad, you got to ask questions and all this stuff, but to say vertical youth, instantly, oh, that person goes to youth at vertical, right? There's no question about it. Okay, vertical youth, instant brand identification there. So I want people to know and to see and that you can rep. I'm a proud member of Vertical Church, right? Because we love some vertical stuff. It's great. And again, I want this to be a shift away from just the idea of this is a teen-only youth ministry. I want this to be focused on this is the Vertical Church youth ministry. And I want it to be known that we reflect the same values. We want to face the topics that Vertical faces just the same. We want to face hard topics and we want to see life change just like we're seeing at Vertical here on Sunday mornings, right? And on the Wednesday mornings, the Wednesday mornings men's and the Wednesday morning women's. And we want to represent, hey, we are all one unit together. Vertical youth. We have Vertical kids. We have Vertical 5-6. We have the Vertical groups. So now we will also have Vertical youth. So we will be having some shirts, hoodies coming again now that we're in the greatest season of all, fall. Yes, come on. So you can wear the hoodies and it will say Vertical Youth across the front. It will be awesome. So again, I want to set the standard that we are not just a youth ministry for the dodgeball and pizza, hey, come and have fun and just turn your brain off and come do nonsense things and leave unchanged, But I want it to be known that, hey, we at our youth ministry at Vertical, we will do ministry to the same standard and same value that we do on Verticals at Sundays, Wednesday mornings, and all this stuff, right? Loving it? Vertical youth? Come on. Thank you, Roseanne. At least there you go. Yeah, a couple. Jonathan? Little thumbs up at least? That'll do. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. So with all of that being said, you got double eye rubs right here from both Caleb and Lucas. They both hated it. It's good. That means you're doing something right. It means you're doing something right. All right. So with all of that being said, that's kind of the most fun thing, I think, to announce that we're going to be Vertical Youth now. So that, yes, that does mean we'll get a new sign in the Main Street Center where it says Driven Youth. It's going to say Vertical Youth now, and it's going to be awesome. Loving it? Come on. That's great. All right, hey, so a couple things I would like for you to put on your calendar, all right? If you have your phone, grab that calendar app so that you can be in the know, all right? This upcoming Wednesday, September 10th, we are going to be having, here we go. If you haven't clapped yet, you're going to clap now. Raising Cane's Night. Come on, that's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. All right, so we're going to be having Raising Cane's Night, and we're also going to be having a new series. And this new series is going to be called this, Prepare for War. All right, Prepare for War. Like I was saying, at Vertical Youth, we want to address topics just with the same intensity as we would at any other area of our vertical ministry. So prepare for war. And this tagline is what's going to go with it. You are not defined by what tempts you. You are not defined by what tempts you. Prepare for war. So, I know this is going to be an incredible series where we're going to be talking about temptation. We're going to be talking about how to fight against, how to stand firm, and what does it mean to have an identity apart from the things that call out to you, right? How to have an identity that is firm. So that's what we're going to be talking about. We'll go through the story of Adam and Eve. And we're going to talk about how even Jesus himself was tempted. We're going to be talking about that there is victory over temptation, all right? Sound good? Love it? Come on, prepare for war. So that's our first series that we have coming up. And again, we're going to deal with some fun and hard topics in that. And then another date to put on your calendar for a new series start is this, October 8th, all right? October 8th. Nice. Sorry about that if the screen's going out. Good? Cool. October 8th, we're going to be having ice cream night, all right? Ice cream night, you got to love that, first of all. Thank you, Destiny. Yeah, ice cream night, October 8th is going to be a great time. We're going to be starting a new series. And that series is going to be real nice and fun. It's going to be called Male and Female, He Created Them, all right? I've talked about this a little bit. Male and female, He created them. So here's what I want to say first. Whenever I say, yeah, hey, we're having ice cream night, it's going to be fun. We do those things because we want to give just one more reason to invite a friend, right? And typically, I'm talking to teens whenever I say that, hey, ice cream night, tell your friends at school. Here's also what I'll say, because this is vertical youth. Not just to the teens, but also to you parents. I want you to be thinking of people that you know who have teenagers, who you are friends with. And I want you to say, hey, guess what? My church is doing a new series that your teen needs to hear. And guess what? They're also doing ice cream night. You should go. My child's going to be there October 8th. It's going to be a great time. I don't want you to just think, okay, yeah, my teen will do all the inviting. I want you to be thinking of, okay, what is going on in our church is powerful. What is going on in our church is changing lives. So I want you to also be thinking, okay, who should I invite? What families do I know that need to hear the gospel? What families do I know their teen needs to hear this stuff? This would create a change in their family, right? So I want these invite nights not just to be for teenagers, but also for you parents. So with this series, Male and Female, He Created Them, we're going to be talking about these things. Again, I've mentioned it a few times to these teens, but it's worth mentioning again, all right? So we're going to start out with the idea of the being created in the image of God. The fancy word, the imago Dei, right? Male and female, He created them. We're going to be talking about what does that mean to be created in the image of God, because that is the foundation for everything else where we head in this series. The next week, we're going to be talking about what does it mean to be a godly man? What does it mean to be a godly teenage man, right? Because teenage men need some help and some direction as to, hey, this is who God has made you to be. This is why you have the passions and desires you have. And just because you have testosterone does not mean you are evil all of a sudden, right? So we're going to be addressing those issues, and it's going to be good, okay? And then the week after that, we're going to be talking about what does it mean to be a godly woman? What does it mean to stand in confidence as a woman? Who are you to be as you grow up? Who does God desire you to be as you grow into all of the image of Christ as a female, all right? Then after that, after we have set the scene for being created in the image of God, for what it means to be a male, what it means to be a female, we're going to be talking about the greatest youth ministry subject, joking, dating, all right? That's going to be a fun one. We're going to be talking about dating. What does it mean? What should it look like? Parents, have you ever been asked that question by your teenager perhaps? Or maybe it's been in the conversation and you're terrified to address the topic. Don't worry, I'm terrified too, and I can't wait to talk about it, okay? It's gonna be awesome because this stuff needs to be talked about, right? It's the classic thing of if you are not talking about it, parent, and if I am not talking about it, who is shaping their ideas and their thoughts about dating? That would be anyone and everyone, TikTok included. You know what I'm saying? Literally anyone. And so what our responsibility is then is to shape their view of what does godly dating look like. And that stuff can only be understood in the context of being created in the image of God, knowing what a godly male is, what a godly female is, so that you can know what does dating look like. Yeah, right? Love it? Very cool. All right, parents, if you're like, yeah, your 1:30, 40-minute sermon perhaps, maybe just 30, all right, teens, sound good? Is that really going to cover everything? I will say this. We have some books, all right? this right here is my number one recommended book for dating, all right? And I would say, parents, please read this. It's called Outdated. Find love that lasts when dating has changed. Are we loving that? Outdated. It's good stuff. The author is Jonathan Pokluda. He's a pastor out in Waco. And here's the deal. At the end of this, I'll have a free book for anyone interested in this right here outside at the lobby, all right? And so I would suggest, if you are like, man, I'm facing this topic, I'm terrified of what this actually looks like in my home, I would say, please grab this. It is so helpful. This dude shaped my understanding of what dating was to look like before me and Chloe got together, before we started dating, and it changed my whole perspective of what a relationship ought to look like, all right? So, number one recommended thing, for real, outdated. Very good. Love it. So we're going to be talking about that. And if that's not hot topic enough, don't worry. The next week, we're going to be talking about how do you deal with the LGBTQ question. Sound good? Because male and female, he created them, yes? And this is like the most hot topic. People don't want to talk about it. Or if they do want to talk about it, it's in the furthest extreme or the furthest extreme of craziness, yes? So we're going to deal with this based on what the Bible has to say. Sounds good? Love it. Awesome. So male and female, he created them. We're going to be beginning that series on October 8th, and it will be those 5 weeks that follow. We're going to deal with it straight on. Love it? Come on. Very good. So again, this stuff, like, yeah, it's always been real, dating, male, female, but I think especially with the LGBT question, that's something that you as a parent, you don't have the experience in going to school with people that are like to this degree invested, or that it's just as widely accepted, right? And I think I can confidently say that because I graduated just 7 years ago, and that was like not even very common back then, right? And so I want to be a voice that says, hey, this is what the truth is. And I want you to say, okay, I have confidence that whenever I send my teen to youth ministry, they are going to hear truth, and it is going to equip them for battle, and it is going to solidify their identity, right? And who they are and who God made them to be. And it will give them answers, and they will know how to respond to the questions of dating, to the questions of their identity, and to the questions of whenever people are asking them what their stance is on some hot topic stuff, right? Temptation and the LGBT thing. So those are just two of the series that we have coming up the most soon. After that, I don't have a slide for this, but right around Thanksgiving, we're going to be talking about this other idea of the family dynamics, all right? We're going to be talking about, ready for this one, parents? How should you relate to your parents? Don't worry, I'll talk about it so you don't have to have that exact same conversation you've probably had with your teens for a long time. Yeah? It's going to be good, right, teens? That's what I like to hear. Thank you. Cool. So we're going to talk about that. How do you relate to your parents? What should that look like? And then you'll have Thanksgiving the week right after that. So you get to say, hey, my teen crushed it because they obeyed me entirely. No, so it's going to be a good time, though. Thank you, Jonathan. Then after that, we're going to be talking about how do you relate to your siblings? What should that relationship look like? Are we loving that one too there? You ever heard that question, parents? You ever had that conversation with them? Don't worry, it will be reinforced at youth. And then for the last one of that series, we're going to be talking about what is your role in your family? Who are you to be? Who has God made you to be for your family? Because you have a specific role in who God has made you to be in the story of your family. So that's going to be great. I could go into depth and talk very nerdily about all of the sermon series and sermon ideas that I have for now all the way until camp, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just talk about 4 categories in which your teenager is going to be hearing sermons, all right? And I want you as a parent to say, okay, this right here is what I want my teenager to be a part of. And this is what I want other teenagers to be a part of as well, all right? So of these 4 topics that we're going to be addressing, in youth ministry. The first one is this: you're going to be hearing sermons about Christian living, Christian growth. How are you to actually relate to other Christians? How are you to grow into the image of Christ? That's my primary passion for teens, to grow more into the image of God rather than looking like the flesh, right? And then the next thing that we're going to be talking about is biblical narrative. Fancy word for Bible stories, right? We're going to be going through some Bible stories and showing them where Jesus is in the Bible. So not only will they be growing into the image of God, they will get to be learning more about what the Bible is, how to read the Bible. Ever heard that question? Have you ever had that question? I would think yes, because I sometimes even ask the same, wow, okay, how do I approach this? So in this, we are going to be talking through Bible stories, looking for Jesus in them. And then we're going to be having other apologetic teaching nights. And that meaning I want to be equipping your teens to have a defense against these hot topic issues. Again, like the LGBT stuff. Again, like temptation. How do I handle these things? I want your teenager to have a defense, that they would stand with strength and confidence in who they are, who God has made them to be. And then also we will be having some evangelistic nights. And by that, I mean, we'll have some big events where our main goal is in sharing the gospel, right? That is our goal of the evening, not just to teach how to grow in Christ, but teaching this is the message of the gospel. And we want those evenings to be ones where we're going to invite friends, people that are not saved, and we want to see them saved. We want to pray toward that end for teenagers to be saved. Amen? Come on. So that's what big picture we are dealing with in the youth ministry from now all the way until next camp. That we'll have Christian growth. You'll look more like Christ. You will know more about what your Bible is, how to approach it. You will have a defense. You will stand firm whenever temptation is thrown your way. And in hearing these evangelistic sermons, I'm hoping there's also an understanding of this is what it means to evangelize. This is what it looks like to share the gospel, right? That's my goal for your teenager and being a part of this youth ministry. So, with all of that, I want to talk, just summarize all of that with what makes our youth different from the rest, right? What makes our youth different? The first thing, we talked about this on Wednesdays, so teens, see if we can jog the memory here, all right? The first thing that makes our youth different is we are not going to be I-focused. This is that we are not going to be a youth ministry where we're trying to create popular people, trying to bring in popular people just so they can have status, so you can walk in and you can have a clique and you can have your people, and hey, these people don't talk to these people, and it's just all about an individual here. That's not what our youth ministry, that's not the culture of our youth ministry, right? The culture of our youth ministry is we gather together for the purpose of worshiping Jesus, learning about Jesus, and growing into the image of Christ. Amen? That's what we do youth ministry for. So we are not going to be I-focused. Also, what I was saying, and not being I-focused, these 3 I words are the things I want to address. We're not going to be a youth ministry where people who come and are a part are going to remain insecure. All right, how about that I word for every teenager? We love it, right? Insecure. I believe in being invested in our youth ministry, you will grow into confidence and out of insecurity. That is what our whole schedule and the message of the gospel geared towards teens produces. Confidence in place of insecurity. Another thing our youth ministry is not about is immaturity. We love in that one. We're not about it. We're about seeing people grow up in confidence, maturity, and walking out their faith, not as infants, but as mature believers. That's what I want, and I know will be the product of our youth ministry. Not immature, but obedient teenagers. Obedient to God, obedient to their authorities, obedient to parents, to coaches, to teachers. That's what I want. This is the culture of the youth ministry. Confident, obedient, and then also that you would not have teenagers that are isolated, okay? that is such a tragedy to see so many teenagers isolated and saying, I can't be around others. I don't want to be around others. In our youth ministry, we focus on finding teenagers and bringing them in and having them in groups where adults are talking to them and they're hearing other teenagers share. And in this process of sharing, isolation is met head on, right? Because you're opening up your life. And whenever you're opening up your life, you're stepping out of darkness and into light. So our youth ministry is not about insecurity, immaturity, or isolation, right? We're gonna have confident, obedient, and sharing teenagers. That is the culture of our youth ministry. And then something I also say very often in our youth ministry is that we are a spiritual gym. We are not a car wash, okay? We are not a car wash where you come to youth, you turn your brain off, and you let everyone else do the work for you, and you walk out looking squeaky clean on the outside, but interior, you look garbage, right? Interior, your life has never changed. Our youth ministry is not a car wash. We are a spiritual gym. We want to face hard topics head on because we want to create strong, confident, obedient teenagers, right? Come on. So we are a spiritual gym, and that requires some hard work. It requires engaging. And also what makes our youth different is the faith of the teenagers will go beyond the walls of this property right here, right? It is not just gonna be a Wednesday evening thing, but it will be lived out at home because it's going to be addressed and applied towards living this out at home, living it out at school, living it out on the field, living it out with your friends, and living it out beyond the youth ministry as well. Love it? Come on, that's awesome. So again, that's my passion for your teens and for you teens, that you would be confident, that you would know all that Christ, who he has made you to be, and that you would learn and know obedience to God and to those around you, and that you would be sharing in your life. That's my greatest desire for teenagers, to stand strong in that. So, with all of that, I'm gonna pray. Actually, hold on. One other thing. I knew I was forgetting something. Some events. All right, stick with me in this. Because we're gonna do some more one nights, okay? We're gonna do one nights. We're gonna have hopefully someone come out and speak and all this kind of stuff. I haven't heard back all the way yet, but we might have a really awesome person coming to speak. I'll say that much. That's all I'll say. Okay, anyways, so dates for that. Let's go ahead and put it in the calendar if you have your phone out, all right? January 31st. January 31st. We're going to have a winter retreat, we'll call it, all right? Winter retreat. January 31 to February 2nd. Okay? I believe that's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday there. If it's not, someone correct me. 30th is the 30th to the 1st, yeah? Cool. 30th to the 1st. There you go. January 30th to February 1st. That is the Friday, Saturday, Sunday winter retreat. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. And then, one second. Boy, I cannot find where I put this.
Is that going to be an overnight, 3-day event?
You'll hear about it. You'll hear about it. You'll hear about it more, all right? All right? Sound good? Love it? Come on. Thank you for the question, Justin. This is an overview night, pal. We're not getting into the weeds of all that stuff, all right? It'll be good. It'll be good. There you go. That's true. It's true. We got a few more weeks until then, but yes. You say, can you go on vacation around that time? It's a good question. So put that one in the calendar for right now, and I will get back to you on some other dates, okay? Sound good? I will say, if you're not following Driven Youth on Instagram or Facebook, and you're saying, hey, I want to get updates and all this kind of stuff, follow those, because that's going to be the first place that we're posting things. Sound good? Very cool. All right, so with all that being said, please go out to the lobby. This is the other book. And we have 2 books that'll be out there, okay? This is the other one called What Do I Say When? What do I say when? If you've ever said, man, I have got some questions about how do I address certain topics, this book is so legit and offers levels in which you can respond and answer some of the questions that your teenager faces. So I would say, please, we'll have it also out in the lobby. Pick it up, look through the table of contents, and then just go ahead, take it home to your house, read it, talk about it with your teen. Does that sound good? Yeah. Come on, love it. Thank you very much. Great. All right, y'all. So with all of that being said, now we're going to pray and we'll get out of here.